Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about percents and mental math. So if you don't have a calculator, you can quickly do percents in your head. This is especially useful when you are leaving a tip or trying to figure tax or trying to go shopping and figure out the sales price. So percents, mental math. So before we even begin, I want to review the whole and the part, because if you do not know, given a comparison of numbers, which is the whole number and which is the part, it's going to be more difficult, because sometimes, remember, the whole or the original, what we started with, is less than the part that we end up with, like if we have a markup. So this is our original or the total amount, where this is the part or the new amount. So the number of boys in a class compared to the total number of students. What is the whole and what is the part? Well, the number of boys compared to the total, this would be the whole thing. That's the whole number of students, where the number of boys is the part, because it's just part of the class. The boys are just part of the class. 25% of 12 is 3. So since 25% is less than 100%, we know that this has to be the part, because 3 is just part of 12, and this is the whole. A nickel out of $1. If I'm comparing a nickel to $1, this is just part of the whole dollar. Part of the whole. So in all of these cases, what the part was less than a whole, but you will have problems where it is not. So like what we just did, I would like you to read the sentence and then figure out what the whole is. So 15 is what percent of 90? So 15 is just a percent of 90. So this would be the whole unit is 90. All right, I'd like you to pause and read through these and see if you could figure out the whole unit and then come back. All right, let's see how you did. And if you didn't get it right, please correct and think about the right answer compared to yours. What is 10% of 56? So some certain number is only 10% of 56. So 56 has to be the whole unit. 90% of some number is 180. So that means that some number is, so 180 is only 90% of some number. So the whole unit is an unknown number. So this is the part. A bag of candy contains 300 pieces and 25 of them are red. So the number of red pieces are the part. So the total number of pieces, 300, is our whole. 70% of the students earned a B. So the 70% is the percent of the students. So the students that got a B is the part. So the total number of students is the whole. And same with this. 20% of the class is only 55% of the students. So the total number of students is our whole. So now let's take it one step further and read the problem, and you're going to figure out the part, the percent, and the whole. If you don't know what something is, that's going to be your variable. So for example, 40%, so that one is easy. 40% of the students on the field trip love the museum. If there are 20 students on the field trip, how many love the museum? So their total is 20 students. So that's my whole, and I'm looking for the part. All right, pause and see if you can do the remaining two. Okay, so they're all dealing with the same number, but this time 40% of the total number of students love the museum. So we don't know how many, but we do know that 40% of that number is 20. And lastly, 20 students love the museum, and there's 40 total. So 40 is our whole, 20 is our part, and we're looking for the percent. It is very important that you understand these different parts of any given problem. All right, let's use a visual model to solve the problems, and I know some of you would rather not use a visual model, but it's going to lead us to that mental math. Always remember part, whole, percent. In Ty's class, 20% earn an A on the test. If there's 30 students in the class, so here's our percent, there's 30 total students, so this is the whole. How many got an A? And we're looking for that part. So we're looking for what is 20% of 30. So I have two different tape diagrams going here, so double tape. So I'm going to have a percent and students. So if it's a whole thing, that's 100%. So 100% of the students equals 30%. Good so far? We know that 20%, so if I marked this into 5 pieces, 20% would be the people that got an A, and this is what we're looking for. So I can do this a few different ways. 20, if we go from 100 to 20, we could divide 100 by 5 to get to 20. So therefore, we can divide, because it's very similar to an equation, if we divided this by 5 on the top, we can divide this by 5 on the bottom to get 6. So we could simply do in our head, 100 divided by 5 is 20, so 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 6 students had an A. So 70% of the students scored proficient. If there's 50 total, how many scored proficient? So like the last one, this is going to be your percent that we're looking for. This is your whole, and this is your part. The unknown is your part. So I'm going to draw a double taper, and this is going to be my percent, and this is going to be the students. So we had 100%, and that was 50 students, and we're trying to figure out 70%. So here, it's not going to be as easy, so we're trying to figure out this. To go down to 20, because 20 is not our answer, and 100 divided by some number doesn't get us to 70, so I'm going to go all the way down to 10%. I'm going to go to 10%. So 100 divided by 10 is 10%, and I can do 50 divided by 10 easily, and that's 5. So now I know that 10% is 5. We have to get back to 70% though. So we have to multiply by 7. So 35 is 70% of 50. So what did we do every time? We took our percent and we divided by something that would allow us to easily multiply to get to the correct percent. So let's do some more that just have numbers and not an application. So here, 15 of 60 is what number? So we're taking a part of the 60. So this is my whole. I'm looking for my part, and this is my percent. So if I were going to go to 10%, 10% of 60, so I would have to divide that 60 by 10. So remember, 100%, and I'll show you, 100% is 60. So I want to go to 10%, so I'm going to divide by 10. So I'm going to divide by 10. That means 10% is 6. I need to get to 15. So I need to add another 5%. So 10% is 6. What would another 5% be? Well, if 10% is 6, 5% is half of that, which is 3. So 9 is 15% of 60. What about this one? 20% of 30 is what number? So 25, so 20, I think I said 25. 20 of some certain number is what number? So 20% of 30. So this is my percent, and I'm taking a percent of the whole to end up with my part. So I can think 30, I'm going to get down to 10%. So 30 is 100%. So I'm going to divide by 10 to get to 3. So 20% of that, so 10% is 3. So 20% would be another 3, which is 6. So 6 is 20% of 30. So 24 is what percent of 30? So now this is different. Now we're looking for a percent. So this is the part and this is the whole. This, I will show you an easier way to do this once you can use a calculator. But for right now, think of it this way. We just figured out that 6 is 20% of 30. This is 24, so 24 plus 6 equals our complete 30. So this was 20%. We know that 30 is 100%. So what number plus 20% gives us 100%? That's 80%. So you kind of have to work backwards sometimes. All right, let's do some more quick ones. 100% of 20 is. This is the whole thing, so it's all of it, which is 20. So if 100% is 20, 200, that doubles it. So 200% of 20 would be 40. 10% of 40. Remember, you have to divide that 40 by 10 because we're trying to get from 100% to 10%. So we're going to divide by 10. So that means 4 is 10% of 40. So what is 40 more, what is 10% more than 40? Well, if 10% is 4, 10% more than 40 would be 44. So we just added that on. We added our 100%, which was our 40, plus our 10%, which was 4, to get our total of 44. All right, 15% of 120 is. So I always like to do the 10% first. When they're easy numbers, we might have to go down to 1% sooner or later. We will. So 120 is that 100%. So I have to divide by 10 to get to my 10%. So that's 12. But that only gets me 10%. That means 5% is half of that, which is 6. So 15% of 120 would be 18. 36 is what percent of 40? Well, we've already worked backwards to figure out that 4 is 10%. 36 is 4 less than 40. So that means that if 40 is my whole thing, and I'm taking away the 4 to get to 36, I must be left with, and again 4 is 10%, I must be left with 90%. So So 36 is 90%. So one more time how I did that. 40 is 10%. Sorry, 40 is 100%. 4 is 10%. So if you have 40 minus 4 to get you that 36, we could subtract that percent to get the percent we're left with, which is 90%. Okay, this is one of those things that you have to practice, so please start your assignment and come talk to me when you need to. All right, we out.